Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, Chris D Redefined. I just came back from the gym, and as I was on the treadmill, I was like, you know what, I need to redo that last episode, which was going to be on self-care and taking care of your own mental health during these really challenging times. And as I rewatched it while I was on Stairmaster, I realized it was just me venting at the camera about what is going on without giving folks away the ways that I keep myself fairly mentally balanced. So I think I will shift and redo this episode. So it's still going to be about self-care and your own mental health during these really challenging times. And what I do to keep myself kind of balanced. So these are, I'm just going to acknowledge it without going into detail. That's what happened in the last episode. I went into too much detail about everything that was going wrong, and I've worked myself into feeling mad and really upset. So today, let's get some balance. So, things are rough. We all know what's happening with our current regime. The ICE raids are stepping up. The pending war in Venezuela, or, we're about to wage war with Venezuela as basically war crimes. Our economy with the stopping of funds to SNAP, that supplemental food benefits for our most needy, and also the jacking up of our healthcare premiums. Everything is going wrong for the American families across the nation. The only people that are safe from all of this are millionaires and billionaires, and they're the ones that benefit from having this regime in office. So that, pretty much economic times, I'm sure everyone is going through their own personal trials and tribulations. I'm an estranged parent. It gets me down sometimes. And I'm a student, and I have a quiz tomorrow, so I need to study after I post this. But a lot of stress in everybody's life right now. And so what do I do to make sure I can keep moving forward and have a more balanced life? So you all know, if you've been watching my channel, that I'm also a personal trainer. So exercise on a daily basis. It doesn't have to be very long, just even 30 minutes, 40 minutes at the gym really helps me to reset and really helps me to focus on self and just get my mind and all of my aggressions out on the weights. I'm a weight lifter. I love the weights. I have to do cardio, of course. I'm a spin instructor also, so I need to keep up with my cardio, but mostly I do weights when I go to the gym, and it really helps me to think of my battle between myself and the metal, and that helps me focus all of my aggression on weights. And then when I get out of there, I feel like I've accomplished something, and it keeps me grounded. So exercise for me is huge. You probably have something else in your life that you enjoy doing that helps you to get balanced, whether it be walking around in nature. Those of my friends on Maui jump in the ocean. Maybe you go out on the water on, a canoe or on a boat of some sort, hiking, biking. It can be a number of different things. Some of you are members of a group. Maybe it's a book club. Let's see. I know friends that, love to get together with other friends to play chess or, any sort of games, that sort of thing. Maybe you're part of a meetup group where you can, kind of unwind and socialize, in a group. That's a great idea. Also, I'm politically active, and although it brings me a lot of frustration sometimes, it also does help me to connect with others who are just as worried about political issues and our nation as I am. So it does help to connect with people who are like-minded as me. And then just finding something throughout the day that makes you laugh. Something that makes you happy, that makes you laugh, whether it be watching videos, watching old, movies, that are funny. I love socializing, so going to school every day and being with my classmates who are all young, they're all in their 20s, and they're not as concerned about politics as me. And they're from other nations like India or China, Russia. They're not from, they're European, or they're from Far East Asia, and they're not as concerned about American politics as me, although the Europeans are concerned. And so it helps me to be with others, especially the young, who don't remember tough times under dictatorship, and they don't understand what it is. So they're, kind of just living their life and being happy. So it does help me to remember there are some good days, and not everyone is as down as me. What else helps me? Just keeping it in perspective, and knowing that other countries have been through this and have come out the other side. Our country has been through this, not quite to this extreme, but it has had its moments. Back in Civil War, and immediately after the Civil War, there were some really turbulent times in the U.S., and so we have kind of been through this before. Of course, we all know the civil rights movement of the late 50s and into the 60s. That was a turbulent time as well. So we kind of have been through this, although we haven't seen this kind of targeted corruption as we see now. So just knowing that in history, other countries have been through this and have gotten to the other side where democracy has won, that helps me a little bit. And then, one of the things I have to remember is when I'm feeling down, I have to stay away from certain doom scroll, social media platforms that just keep you scrolling through really horrible crap, really horrible shit, like Instagram. I have done a lot of research about how to combat ICE, and because of that, and ICE raids, because of that, ICE tends to be one of the first things that pops up into my feed. Also, Aaron Parnas, who's wonderful. He's awesome. His news is almost always bad. He's doing Sundays now where he tries to focus on positive things, so that's good. But 6 days a week, what he has to report on is really horrible. So I try to stay away from Instagram when I'm feeling low. I'm not a Pollyanna, flowers and rainbows type of girl. I'm very much rooted in reality. When reality is really horrible, I try to, like I said, steer towards, okay, this can be done. We can do better. Here's what I can do to make things better. I try to take positive action that will make me feel empowered during these moments. Everything from posting things that can help American families, things that promote voting for Democratic leadership. That helps me when I take positive action online. So those are the things. If you do meditation, if you do breathing exercises, I don't, but I believe in it. I just don't. If going to a yoga class or watching a yoga video helps you do that, and like I said, I don't do that. It's just, it doesn't bring me that kind of comfort. It just doesn't. But it does for many people, and I promote that. I think it's wonderful if meditation, yoga, breathing exercises, if that all works for you, please do that. Yeah, I am a believer in walking in nature because I spent 20 years on Maui. So again, walking in nature, hiking, swimming in the ocean, watching the sunset, all of that. Children usually bring me a lot of joy. But, since my estrangement with my son, it's a double-edged sword. I love watching children and seeing them laugh and play and on the playground and such, but it can bring back memories which really, really traumatize me too. So that's a double-edged sword. So just trying to find things that comfort you when you are really down in the dumps, whether it be maybe you call friends. I tend to reach out to friends and communicate with them when I'm feeling down. Some people don't. Some people kind of close themselves off and isolate themselves. That might work for you. I won't say to do that all the time because you can wind up in depression, which is what I did on Maui. But some people need to kind of recharge alone, and I understand that as well. But things like if you knit, or if you you do some sort of needlework just to kind of keep your mind and hands busy, and not have it be controversial. Even if you play some games on your phone or something, just something where your mind is occupied and that horrific, traumatizing news isn't coming at you, bombarding you. That could be of comfort for a few minutes as well. If you bake or cook, or even if you reorganize your kitchen shelves. Some people, that brings them real joy, or some people love to clean. Anything that brings you some joy, that occupies your mind for a little bit, do that. It's so important that we take care of our mental health during these really, really stressful times. So don't feel like you can't reach out for help if it's really bad. There's a lot of 1-800 lines, phone lines that can help you when you're feeling super down. Connect with your best friend, with family members if they bring you joy. Like, I usually call or reach out to my brother if I'm feeling down, not my mother. Me and my mom just don't see eye to eye, and she's the last person when you're having a crisis. She's the last person to get in touch with. But my brother, who is actually a life coach, he does help to talk to when I'm feeling pretty rough. And then so almost all of us have that person in our lives that we turn to, and I really encourage that as well. So anything that brings you comfort, that is healthy for you, not drinking and drugs, but whether it's reading a book, getting together with friends, connecting with a friend, breathing meditation, yoga, getting outdoors, hiking, biking, swimming in the ocean, whatever brings you comfort during these rough times, so that you can recharge and stay away from the doom scrolling during, really horrible times, where your mental health is like not balanced. Stay away from the social media if you can. So those are my tips for trying to keep your brain, your mental health in balance, and so that you can recharge to face another day during these really dark political times. So if you like my content, please hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next episode here at Chris D Redefined.